Hello and welcome to Season 12, Episode 142 of the Cartridge Club's Game of the Month podcast, where we bring together members of the Cartridge Club community to discuss our monthly playthrough. If you're new to the club or are interested in participating in future months, please join our community Discord or follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky at Cartridge Club. We love seeing the hashtag Cartridge Club used whenever you guys play a Game of the Month that we've selected. I'm Dean Lasagna from Round 2 Gaming and the Video Game Library. And on behalf of our rotating pool of hosts, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Additionally, on behalf of the entire Cartridge Club community, I'd like to give a huge shout out to our Patreon Club backers, Joel Boyce, Ross Rengo, Kevin from Canadian Grooves, Chris Rohr, and Caleb J. Ross. Thank you all so much. You guys are an integral part of why we can do this each and every month. Now it's July, and that means this is our penultimate episode to Season 12, and finally, we are tackling Diddy Kong Racing. Joining me to talk about the game is JChip, who is no stranger to rare games. He was on the Conquer episode, the GoldenEye episode, and just before we started recording, he mentioned he was playing through some DK64. So, JChip, welcome to the show.
Howdy.
We also have a newcomer to the show. We have Nathan, who I know has been working all month on Diddy Kong Racing. Great to have you here, Nathan.
Hey. Happy to be here.
All right, let's dive right in. We'll start with a bit of history. Diddy Kong Racing, of course, released back in 1997 around the holiday season. It was really, really successful, right? We got 4.8 million copies sold. It was the 8th best-selling game on the N64. And it was right around the time Rare was at, the height of their game. They were putting out all of these prestige titles on the 64. But it's funny, Diddy Kong Racing wasn't always a racing game. They initially started with building out a real-time strategy project. That fell through when they decided to move to racing. It was originally going to be called Wild Cartoon Kingdom, with Timber the Tiger as sort of the main character. Then it became Adventure Racers, and ultimately wanted to be a sequel to RC Pro-Am, and by June of 1997, it was still known as RC Pro-Am 64, and all the vehicles, I think, were three-wheelers. And it was only at E3 that year, so June 1997, that Nintendo suggested we need a mascot character that everybody recognizes. Let's use Diddy Kong. So it was only a few months before release. This actually became an official Donkey Kong universe game with Diddy Kong Racing, and November 21st, it came out just before the Christmas holidays, right on time. So, JChip, where were you Christmas 1997? Was this one of the ones under your tree?
I would have been a baby at this time period. I was born in 97, so you said this came out in November, right?
Yeah, November 21st.
I would have been like 10 months old at this point, so I had no idea what was going on.
So you played a couple years later growing up then?
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Nathan?
So this was not a Christmas gift for me. We were actually a huge Mario Kart family. So we played a lot of Mario Kart 64, and we would rent it almost every time I'd go to my grandma's house. We'd play as a family. And one day that it wasn't there at the rental store, so my mom brought back Diddy Kong Racing, and we could not have been more disappointed. Because we had never heard of this game, we didn't know what this game was, and then we put it in the console, and we're just blown away by how much more like high tech it was. Because you gotta remember, Mario Kart 64 was just flat sprites as characters. This is like a full 3D character model in an adventure mode, and it was crazy to like 8-year-old Nathan.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, getting disappointment from Diddy Kong Racing. I remember the first time I rented it with a friend, and we played through it, and we loved it. We fell in love with it right away. And then some kids in my class were more Mario Kart 64 Mario Kart 64 fans, and so I just sort of like assimilated into that. I just felt like, okay, well, I can't be the one who loves Diddy Kong Racing more, so I just pretended to love Mario Kart 64. But really, it was definitely my favorite of the two. And then growing up, I just fell more and more in love with it. This time around, though, I played the Nintendo DS version of it, which I want to say came out around 2007.
It was 10 years later, I think.
Yeah, well, I could think of a lot better ways to celebrate 10-year anniversary than that game. But looking forward to dive into it. JChip, I think you said the N64 version for yourself too, right?
Yep, it's the one I know the best, and it's the one I stuck with.
Cool. So let's talk about the story a little bit. As far as the story goes for the racing game, I mean, Diddy Kong Racing was fairly unique in the sense that it was one of the only kart racers with sort of a full story-driven single-player campaign. You had this evil wizard, Whizpig, who shows up on Timber the Tiger's Island. I think his parents are away. All this is in the instruction manual for the N64. I think there was a lot of exposition just written out. When you play the DS game, there's actually a little bit of a scripted intro there. But essentially all his friends come together and you all race to defeat the evil wizard pig. What did you guys think about that? Having a kart racer with a story mode behind it, or more specifically adventure mode?
It definitely adds more like interest into playing a racing game single player, because most racing games are kind of built on multiplayer for the most part. So you getting a story mode in this, or an adventure mode, really like adds more depth to this game and just gives you something to do for a single player. And I think for what they did, like, it's a pretty good job for keeping your interest, and they at least attempted at something for a story.
Totally agree. I love sort of the sense of progression, sense that you're sort of moving toward a single goal. I didn't have, outside of, like I said, just the one friend that I had when I got this game, or when I rented it. Didn't have a lot of friends in school that wanted to play Diddy Kong Racing, so I was very much an adventure mode kid. How about you, Nathan?
Dude, I loved it because, like JChip was saying, it gives you something to do for single player, like an island to explore, like having those, like, granted, I think there are only like 4 hidden balloons in the overworld, but like just being able to find them, you got to think, being 8 years old, you wouldn't think to like look behind like a mountainside or whatever to find a balloon. And then like the entire, I think, 4th world is hidden underneath the waterfall, but you have to think to look under the rainbow to drive under there. It was really cool because like I didn't have a lot of, like I said, we played multiplayer with my family a lot, but when I wasn't with them, it was just me. So I got a lot more mileage as a single player person out of Diddy Kong versus like Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, I still haven't played Crash Team Racing. I don't know much about that one, but yeah, I totally agree. And I would love if somehow they had gone back to this series and really fleshed out what a great single player campaign could have been. Because even right now I'm playing Mario Kart World and it's great, but I haven't been playing much of the multiplayer stuff. And only a few days after getting the Switch 2, I feel like I had wrapped up everything there was to do in that game. I had, done all the P-Switch missions and unlocked all the characters and costumes and sort of twiddling my thumbs trying to figure out what's next. So I would have loved, more like of a story progression style.
Let me ask you a question, though, because you bring up the Switch.
Yeah.
Are you kind of surprised that this game has not hit the Nintendo Switch Online for the N64 app?
I was actually sure it had prior to jumping into this month, and I was really surprised to find out, it's still not there. So yeah, I am super surprised. I think, like I said, this is the 8th best-selling game on the console. I'm sure there's a ton of license issues with Rare now being owned by Microsoft, but they seem to have got around that in 2007 when they put out the DS port. So they replaced Conker and Banjo with Tiny Kong and Dixie Kong. So not sure.
I'm not super surprised though, because you got to think, with it being such a successful game, they want you to play Mario Kart World. They want you to play Mario Kart 8. If they put something on there that has online play, they could take away from that, or like sales even a little bit. I don't think they'll do it. Not for a while anyway.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some of the gameplay, which I think arguably is one of the most important elements of a racing game. This is your usual sort of racing style kart racer. You start line, you go around a track a couple times, and your goal is to win. But like you said, Nathan, outside of the actual races, there's this whole hub world, right? There's Timbers Island, and you could unlock zones with these golden balloons that you win for each race. So it's not entirely linear. You can sort of move around to different courses. And it actually has a really cool roster of racers that are that haven't really made an appearance since, and some of them were quite popular in the future. So who did you guys play as mostly?
My main was Tip Top. I always liked him as a kid. Always thought he was kind of cool. He had a cool voice, so he was kind of my main. And throughout this playthrough, that's who I stuck with. He was my boy.
Does he have like a deep voice in the N64 version as well? Because I don't remember that, but playing through the DS version, he's got like a really like deep, gruff voice.
Tip Top has kind of like it's kind of hard to describe his voice. He's got like a normal sounding voice. It's not really that deep, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like I remember being like a squeaky, like really cute, but maybe I'm thinking Timber anyway. But I know some of the voices did get changed for the DS version, so yeah, when I was playing as Tip Top as well in the DS version, that was my go-to. I was just really surprised by the voiceover. How about you, Nathan?
Dude, my main when I first got the game back as a kid was I forgot his name. I always forget it. Bumper, the Badger, and then like I said, we rented it, so I didn't own it for a while, and I didn't own it again until after I bought Banjo-Kazooie for the N64. Fell in love with that game immediately, and then going back to this game years later, Banjo's been my main ever since for like the last 20-ish years.
Yeah, so for me, when I was a kid, any game, whether it was like a beat 'em up or a fighter, I was always like the brute, the heavy, right? Like the slow sort of lumbering guy. So I remember when we first rented the game, I really wanted to play as what's his name, Crunch?
Yes.
The Kremlin?
Yes.
I really, really wanted to get good with him, and he is terrible. I think he's got like the top speed out of everybody, but his acceleration is horrible. His steering is horrible. The game isn't built for a character like that with a lot of long runways, right? It is very much about tight turns and a lot of corridors, and there's trees on the track, and you have to, swerve and skid everywhere. I don't see how anybody could play as Crunch and get very far in that game. So I did move on to Tip Top later on as a kid, and yeah, that's why I stuck with him this time around.
Yeah, seeing the YouTube searches for this game specifically, there's a lot of challenges of like, can you beat the game with Crunch? And I haven't seen them yet, but I would like to see how they do it.
I've watched a few of them, and they're fascinating. Like, I'm not that level with Crunch, like you were saying. He has the highest top speed of the starting characters. All the other unlockables are faster than him, but like he's got the weakest acceleration and the weakest turning. So like you go to turn and you damn near still going straight. Like you have to know the tracks inside and out to play as Crunch.
Right. Is he faster than that rooster?
No. So I've got the stats pulled up now. I came prepared, my guy. Drumstick has 4.5 out of 5. 1.5 out of 5 for turning, and 2 out of 5 for acceleration. Crunch is 1 out of 5 acceleration, 1 out of 5 turning, 4 out of 5 top speed. And then TT is just, might as well just be cheating if you pick him to race as him. Like, he is the odd job of Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember playing much as TT. I don't actually know if I beat the time trials as a kid.
I never have. Like, I wanted to make sure that because I streamed the entire playthrough in preparation for this. And I did everything except for unlock TT because it is balls hard to do it. It's still to this day, I've never done it.
Right. So do you have his stats as well? Are those listed?
Yeah. He's 5 out of 5 for acceleration, 2 out of 5 turning, and 5 out of 5 top speed. So this guy is the fastest character in the game and the fastest acceleration.
So like de facto, he is the best character.
Oh yeah, no, and like he's crazy.
So like for me with TT, so I did do a cheat to get him. And
how dare you?
Listen, man, I was young, but playing against WizPig with him is like straight up cheating because he is so fast, and when you just hit those boosts, you might as well have just lapped him because he's pretty much a joke in those games. TT is straight up unfair. I gotta agree with Nathan.
Yeah.
You mentioned cheating, I forgot, but the N64, that has like cheat codes, right?
It has a crazy amount of cheat codes.
Okay.
Like one of the cool things it has, and something my buddy Justin and I did, he's the other member of this YouTube channel, there's a cheat code for a 2-player adventure mode. And it's a little wonky. I think it's called like Joint Venture is the code or something like that. And basically one person drives around the island, you both do the races, you both do everything, but you alternate who does the bosses. So you're not both fighting the boss.
So do you get a balloon if either one of you win, or?
So I love Justin, and I know he's going to listen to this, but he's not good at this game, so we didn't figure that out. if you catch my drift.
Sorry to Justin, but when you do like the silver coin races with Adventure 2 mode, do they both like count for as one, or do you both have to get them all at the same time?
So we didn't make it that far, unfortunately. We played, I think, Dino Domain, and then I caught a vibe, and we moved on to something else. Justin is not much of a retro gamer, but he will do it for the content.
That would be fun. Kind of fun, though. Like, one person just worries about racing, and the other one just sort of slow rolls it and collects all the coins as they go.
Oh, that would be a godsend, especially in Adventure 2.
So that's something I definitely missed this time around. So, and maybe we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but we mentioned that, you race in these stages, and then if you race a second time in the stages after the first round, there's sort of a silver coin challenge, and that's in the N64 version where you collect I don't know, was it 12 coins per race?
It's 8.
It's 8 coins? Okay. So yeah, you collect these 8 coins, but as you progress, they get farther and farther sort of off the beaten path. So it adds a little challenge to the regular race. They completely got rid of that in the DS version, and instead, the second time around, you're on rails. So you're not even controlling your character. What you do is you click on balloons throughout the track with your stylus, which sounds fun and easy, but the stylus is also used to rotate your camera around. So to turn around like 180 degrees to see a balloon behind you, it's like 5, 6, 7 swipes. And as you're doing that, you're clicking all over the screen. So the camera's going everywhere. You can't click on a balloon. It's impossible to do. I can't even get through the first level on that thing. So you get bronze, silver, gold. I can get just bronze on anything, but I haven't got a single gold out of any of the courses. So it is a horrible alternative to what I thought was pretty fun, which was the silver coin challenges.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So to add even more variety to the game, we have all these courses, but there's also a couple different types of vehicles. So JChip, why don't you take us through the different vehicle types in this game and sort of the benefits and frustrations with each?
For sure. You have your standard cart, nothing real special there, just your standard cart. Some characters are better than others, but then you also have a plane, which is pretty fun for the most part, but you really do have to pick like the right character that is very good with flying the plane, because sometimes going that sharp turn can be a bit of a hassle, and also with the inverted controls for flying. I'm not a big fan of inverted controls. I know that's kind of the standard for a lot of flight sims, but it's just not for me. So I would rather just have regular controls for the flying, but yeah. And then you have the hovercraft, which is mainly used for the water, but you can drive that thing on dry land, and it's pretty slow on dry land, so it benefits the water. And again, kind of with the plane, certain characters are better with the hovercraft than others. I'm not a big fan of the hovercraft at all, honestly. I think there's some cases where it's a little too slippery for me, and sometimes the turns are a little bit too sharp.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm actually like, I feel like if the plane was a little faster, I'd like it more. It feels very, very slow. So if I were to order these for myself, it would be cart, then plane, then hovercraft last. The slippery controls, and there's like 2 worlds, the ice world and the water world that has a lot of hovercrafting.
I hate the planes. I absolutely hate the planes. During my streams, I was complaining about the planes the whole time. I'm just not good with them. They were my least favorite levels to do, especially in the back end of Adventure 2, where you have new coin placement compared to Adventure 1. I actually don't mind the hovercraft. but I do prefer the cart if you have an option between the three on that course.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, one of the nice things is some of the courses are designed so you could have different types of vehicles and access different areas. So, in what is it, Dino Kingdom or Dino Domain, some of the levels you can just get by on a cart, but if you have a plane, you can go, through different caves and, different pickups. But I can't remember in the N64 version, in multiplayer, can you race different vehicles on the same course together? So you can have like a hovercraft versus a plane? Yeah. Yes.
And there's some where you can do all three.
But only some of the courses.
Yeah, not every. So like a lot of like what is it? I always forget the names of these places. Sherbet Island. A lot of places are water based, so you can't have a car there. But
right.
Some you can do hovercraft, some you can do hovercraft plane, stuff like that.
Okay. So let's build off the mechanics. So we have a couple different vehicles, but like true to any kart racer of the time, there's also some pickups along the way. So Nathan, why don't you take us through some of the different types of pickups you can get and some of the strategy behind them?
Absolutely, and this is where I find that Diddy Kong really separates itself from Mario Kart 64, because it kind of removes all the random elements from it. From like in Mario Kart 64, you hit an item block, you don't know what you're going to get, and it's random depending on what spot you're in. With Diddy Kong Racing, you have balloons. So you've got 5 different ones. You got the red balloon, which is your missiles, so if you want to shoot somebody, that's what you want to get. The blue balloons are your speed boosts, yellow are your shields, green are your oil slicks, like the equivalent of bananas that you get in Mario Kart 64. And then there's the magnet balloons, which I really didn't find a huge use for until like the final world. But hey, teach their own. If you know how to use it and I don't, awesome. But the cool thing about it is there's a lot of strategy involved in this system. So let's say you get a red balloon and you get like the missile, it shoots straight forward. If you hold on to that and you get a second red balloon without getting any other balloons or using your item, it'll upgrade it. So you'll get a homing missile, so basically turning it from a green shell to a red shell. If you do it a third time, which I very rarely see benefit in upgrading anything past 2, but hey, to each their own. If you upgrade it a third time, you get a stock of 10 missiles that you can then rapid fire, and then every time you hit another red balloon, it'll refill those 10 missiles. And that applies to every other type of balloon. So like you can get a small boost, medium boost, large boost, and like the shield, short shield, medium shield, long shield, and so on, right? And I love this system so much because it takes away, like I said, the random aspects of like Mario Kart. There's no lightning bolt equivalent in this game. You have to just be good at this game, you have to be skillful at this game, and know when to use what item and when to save. And I absolutely love this game for that.
Yeah, it really does enforce like skill-based and more strategy, like you say. It's interesting in the DS version, which was different than what I remembered in the N64. If I have, for example, a red balloon, I have a missile, and I run into a blue balloon, it will not replace the missile. I will still have the missile. It won't upgrade it or anything, but it'll just be like a dud balloon. So it adds a little change to how you play. You'll almost have to use the item before you touch another balloon if you don't want it. For example, I don't use a lot of oil slicks, so I always want to get rid of that right away. Otherwise, I can't pick up anything else in the meantime. But also, if you're in first place and you're a really good player, it's hard to catch up. It's hard to catch up with you know, because you don't have those blue shells. You don't have a higher chance of getting those really great pickups to sling you forward. So as long as you keep boosting or you keep running oil slicks, you know, there's not much of a need for anything else if you're in first place. So yeah, it's interesting how they built that into it.
Yeah, the weapon variety is pretty solid, I would say. And as Nathan and you were saying, you know, there's a lot of strategy involved, especially during those boss fights, because the bosses can be a little bit unfair at times because obviously they get a bit more of a boost. So you do have to collect a certain amount of balloons to definitely take down the boss so that you can get a quick win there.
So yeah, let's talk about those bosses. You have Tricky the Triceratops, you got Bluey the Walrus, Bubble the Octopus, Smokey the Dragon, and then Whizpig. Did you guys feel like these were just sort of pushover bosses, or did you have a hard time? Because this time around, I had a hell of a time getting through those boss races.
Yeah, this is where you can start to realize this is a game by a company that made Battletoads. The bosses are where this game starts to cheat, okay? Like, the Dino Domain one, like, the race isn't that hard against the Triceratops. I always found I was more fighting, like, the turns. Because if you clip the wall in the wrong way, or if you hit a tree, you're done. Game over. Start over from the beginning. But, like, I didn't feel they started getting unfair until the Dragon Forest boss. Like, that is my least favorite boss in this game. Mostly because I hate planes, but also, like, he's dropping fireballs. That being said, if you can get past him, it's pretty smooth sailing for the rest of the fight, but, like, it becomes pattern memorization. Like, oh, he's gonna drop his bombs here, his fireballs here, so you have to be ready for that ahead of time. So, if you can figure out the patterns, like, I'm realizing 8-year-old Nathan was a bit of a dum-dum when it came to this kind of thing, but, like, the bosses do cheat in a very rare, flavored kind of way.
Yeah. Rare is known for being a little cheeky here and there with their games. So kind of the opposite of Nathan. I found my biggest issue was the octopus boss, especially the second time around, because the bubbles kind of act as the same thing. And I'm not a fan of the hovercrafts, so it was kind of a double whammy there. But for that one, you just have to collect as many missiles as you can and just fire him at the right time, because he'll be stunned for like a split second, and then you can get past him just for a bit.
Yeah, so in the DS version, they totally flip everything on its head, and you don't actually control your driver in the boss fights. What you do is use a stylus and a variety of different gimmicks depending on the boss. So for the octopus as an example, when you start, you have to blow into the DS microphone to start your engine, to get your propellers spinning on the hovercraft. And then you have to control around the circle with your stylus on the route you want to take. You have to like draw out your route. And then when you do pick up something, if you manage to, you have to double click on your icon, tiniest icon in DS history, to activate that item. So it was such a hassle. And I knew if I had control over the vehicle, I'd be fine. But it's all these gimmicky stylus acrobats that you have to do to try to get through these guys. It was so frustrating. So one other thing that was in the N64 version is bananas, right? There's like bananas on the course, and they, what do they go up to 10, I think? And you can increase your top speed.
Oh, you can get more than that. I think the most I got in any race was like 17.
Oh, really? Okay. And do you just keep getting faster and faster?
Allegedly, like growing up, I never cared too much, but again, 8-year-old Nathan being a dum-dum, that's something I tried to focus on a little bit more here, trying to complete Silver Coin challenges, because a lot of that, it's necessary to get those speed boosts.
Yeah, they sort of mimic the coins in the Mario Kart games, where the more you get a little bit faster. It's not by much, but there is a little bit of a noticeable difference when you collect more bananas.
Yeah, and again, that sort of adds to some of the skill aspect. And another thing they stripped out of the DS version, there's no more bananas. What they've replaced them with are these little coins that you can use once you get back to the hub world to buy enhancements for your cart. So you can get like speed and control enhancements, which is kind of a cool idea. You can sort of stock up and then pimp out your ride. But you're not allowed to play the same race twice. So you have one chance to collect coins, and depending on how many you get, you have to get like 6 billion in order to do anything to your cart. So you have to play like a lot of races sequentially before you can do anything. It doesn't really give you a lot of flexibility to sort of farm out coins or really enhance anything in a meaningful way. I would have much rather had the bananas on each course, so I could at least use some skill to collect those and make things a bit easier, rather than waiting until I could afford anything that would make the race easier.
Do you feel like that would like really hurt you against the final boss battle though? Like, do you feel like there's like a path that they're pushing you, like an upgrade path that you have to do, or else you're screwed by the time you get to Whizpig?
I definitely wouldn't have been able to finish or beat Whizpig the first or second time without enhancements. So yeah, I think they sort of force you to do that. But again, without being able to go back and replay the levels, it makes it more linear than sort of feeling like any sort of progression.
Very well.
And then remind me what the Taj challenge is. So Taj is like this elephant genie that sort of hangs out around the hub world and gives you different tasks and races. What were those in the N64? Were they just races around the island?
So basically what they were is tutorials for the different vehicles, I felt like. So it would just be races around like a certain path of the island, and it'd be like, oh, hey, we'll take your plane through these flags, and we'll do some like light turns to teach you how to like hold R and do a turn, and then hold R and do like a hard RB to do a hard turn. And same thing with the car and with the hovercraft. Super easy races, but you do get balloons for doing them.
Okay, so they award you with like a golden balloon. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, when I played, they were, again, sort of the gimmicky races. So the one that sticks out the most to me is Taj wants you to drive around the island and find all the torches. And then when you get to a torch, you go as close as you can to it and then use the microphone on the DS to blow it out. And I almost passed out. Like, I had to blow like 30 times per torch just for it to register. It was a brutal... it was supposed to be easy, and it was just the most annoying little intermission segment of the whole game.
Sounds like to me that you gonna have some issues with the DS version.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to be too negative on it, because it is cool. Like, they do a lot of really fun things. I think that the idea is there, just the execution of it just seems to fall short all the time. And I don't know, I kept thinking back to the N64 and as a kid, and I thought I may be misremembering, but everything you guys are saying is what I remember, and it does seem like a sort of a much better setup. And I don't know if that's a technological hurdle, if the DS technology wasn't able to do some of this stuff, but it did feel like, okay, they had a checklist of gimmicks that they had to incorporate into the game somehow. Let's have you blow out torches, or to start a race with the hovercraft, to blow into the microphone, or to use your stylus to rev up the wheels of the car, or to turn the propeller of the plane. And it was just like, oh god, again, I have to do this. So,
well, dude, like, my main issue with the DS, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, I don't want to jump any topics, but my issue with it and why I put it down rather quickly was controlling a racing game with a D-pad. Because this was an original DS game, not a 3DS. And it just never felt right anytime I tried to play it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about as as many good memories as I have with the N64 joystick. Yeah, that would have been easier. All right, let's talk a little bit about the game design, the graphics. Unlike Mario Kart 64, and I think you mentioned this one at the top, Nathan, like Mario Kart very smartly used 2D sprites in a really cool way that made it look 3D, but the different positions of the kart were all just 2D sprites. Diddy Kong Racing, for the most part, moves fully into 3D character models. So I don't know if you remember at the time how you were feeling, but certainly sort of this time around, how do you guys feel it held up as an N64 game? Was it as beautiful as you remember?
There's definitely a charm to the older graphics. I think the game still looks fine. I can forgive the blockiness of the characters and some of the jankiness of like the textures on the wall. When you move up, it sort of spazzes out. I can forgive all that because of the technical stuff. But like the actual art style of this game, I think is phenomenal. It's so colorful, and each world just kind of adds its own unique spin to it. And I really like the final world after you beat Wizpig, when you're in space and all that stuff. I think it just looks really cool. And the actual tone when you fight Wizpig for the first time, I think is really good.
Like in Future Funland, you're talking?
Yeah. I don't know. All the cool space stuff is just really nice to see.
Yeah, and exactly the same for me. Like when I think back to a kid playing Diddy Kong Racing, I remember the colors. I remember, the reds of Dino Domain and the blues of Sherbert Island or Snowflake Peak or whatever the level's called, the snowy one. It's a very, very colorful, pretty game. I remember figuring out how to honk at the lighthouse and just, being on that beach in front of the ocean. It was, definitely a very vivid game. Nathan, how about you?
Dude, I loved it. I mean, Rare doesn't miss, especially on the N64 with the limited cartridge space they had. They had more tracks than Mario Kart 64. I think they had 20, not including boss arenas and also minigame arenas. And it looked so good. Like, I think I talked earlier of like how just mind-blowing it was coming from Mario Kart 64 going to Diddy Kong and not being disappointed. It's one of the best looking games on that console, and I will stand by that.
So yeah, one thing we didn't talk about is in the multiplayer. There's a couple different modes, like a couple different like deathmatch and capture the flag style modes. Nathan, why don't you share some of what those are? All I remember is like there was an egg one that you could pick up eggs and like deliver them to different nests or something.
Yes, that one is the least fun unless you have actual people there. But there's mini games tied to each world, and basically the way you unlock them is in one course. In each of the hub worlds, there's a key hidden on a track, and some are easier to find than others. Like in Dino Domain, it's right there on a ramp as soon as you start, and you can go back, and that's how you unlock the volcano minigame, where basically in the center there's like 3 eggs. You have to fly down to pick them up, drive them back to your nest, I guess we'll call it, drop them off, and then keep going until you get all 3. And people can steal them out of your nest, you can steal them out of theirs, and the first person to 3 wins. That one's not a lot of fun with CPU because they're basically just trained to like take your eggs out before they hatch, and it's not a whole lot of fun. The 2 that are real standouts for me are like the arena battles, kind of similar to Mario Kart 64. I guess battle mode is what it's called, where you basically are hoverboating around an arena and you pick up balloons, but I think the upgrades are locked, so like you can't get full level 3 upgrades. You can only get like a homing missile and it locks out there, or a trip mine and it locks out there. And you want to, once you get hit 4 times, you're out, and so on. There's different variations of that for the other levels. But the thing about these mini games, at least in the N64 version, let me know as far as the DS version if these are even in here or what they do. But you have to win all 4 of these to unlock the second fight with WizPig. So you can make it to Future Funland, but if you haven't found the keys in all the other 4 worlds, you can't actually finish the game. So I'm curious, the DS version, does it have that, or that same mechanic?
It does. The games themselves are different. Those keys are actually, I think, what unlock. I think they unlock TT. But yeah, there are keys, and they're in the same locations. Like in Dino Domain, it is right like down that runway off that little jump. Yeah. So you do collect them, but they're different. They all look different. There's like one's like a skeleton key, one's like an old fossil key. So I don't know if it's the same, but yeah, you did need to do all of those to unlock the second round of WizPig.
Now I guess we're getting a little off in the weeds here, but is the WizPig fight in WizPig 2 the same fight in DS as the N64, where like you're following him through on a plane while he's riding a rocket?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's like, it's an actual race without touchscreen mechanics, which is nice.
Okay. And I guess
and it was only then that I realized that with the boost, you actually want to like let go of the acceleration. It was the WizPig fight that I realized that you need to do that.
Yeah, so
because it gives you more of an acceleration if you let go of X or A.
Yeah, where you get like the green boost, or if you let go, it'll give like a rainbow cloud behind you.
Yeah, because the power-up mechanics are a little different in the DS. You get like a token that sits on the bottom of your screen, and depending on what pickup you use, you can apply that token to that pickup whenever you want, and it's sort of like a 4th level, like a Super Saiyan mode, where it just does like something like super crazy.
See, the DS version sounds like it's got a lot of cool ideas. This just isn't the type of game that I want to play on that handheld with those controls.
Yeah, and I think if there was a way, like you said, to like toggle, like put it on NSO and then have some of these like mechanics be able to like toggle on or off from the DS version, I think that would be really cool because some of them are pretty fun.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, and honestly, if they brought it to NSO or like did a DS app or however that would work, just being able to add in analog controls is a game changer for old DS games like that. Like, I've got a modded Wii U, and one of the mods that they have is for the Mario 64 DS game that they have on there. One of the mods actually mods in true analog support. And I now find that to be the definitive way to play that game, because I'm no longer controlling a 3D game with 8 directions. So, like, if they could do something like that, or, hey, if the community wants to take it upon themselves to figure that out, I would appreciate it. But, yeah, no, just the DS seems to be what's holding that game back. It sounds awesome, but I just don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I was going back to WizPig. Which fight did you think was harder? The first one or the second one?
So this time around for me, it was the first one. The first one was by far the hardest. How about you guys?
For me, it would be the second one. Just because, once again, you're on the plane, and I feel like the plane is a little slower, and I don't know. There's all kinds of like obstacles, like projectiles, like going at you to like screw you over in that race. So the second one, I'm just not a fan of.
Honestly, I found the second one to be way easier because of those balloons in the race. Where, like, I had more options and a little strategy about how to get around them. With the first fight, more so in Adventure 2, because this was my first time beating Adventure 2. I'd never beaten it as a kid, so that was also something I wanted to do in preparation for recording this. So, the inverted track really messed me up, because, like, you get a little bit of map knowledge over the last 30 years, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, I have to make this turn, I have to make this turn, I have to let go here. If you mess, like, it's a very short course, but if you mess up even once, like, if you get bumped into the water, if you miss a booster, it can be game over on, like, lap 2, lap 3. With WizPig, in the second one, I feel like he doesn't, like, cheat as much, where it's like he won't accelerate from 0 to 100 like he does on that wooden bridge at the beginning of lap 1 in the original course. So I definitely think the second one's easier, which is weird considering it's in a plane and I hate the planes.
And I can't remember, what is Adventure 2, does that is everything harder, or does it just mirror the tracks?
Yes. So it mirrors the... I don't know this for sure, but it feels this way, having just replayed the whole game. I know for sure they mirror the tracks, and they change the location of the silver coins when you get to that part of the world. I feel like the AI is a bit harder, but I could just be making that up. I don't know that for sure.
And is it a different ending when you finish it?
That's what I was curious about. No. And, like, in fact, the ending I was a little bummed about, because once you beat WizPig for round 2, it does the credits, it kicks you back out to the main menu, and then you have to go back into the game to do the trophy race. And I'm like, okay, cool, this is all I got left, this is Adventure 2, I've been waiting 30 years for this moment, right? Or 25 years or whatever. I do the race, I think I get 36 points, I think I win the whole thing, and I get nothing. I have never been so let down. Like, it was cool to do it, but, like, y'all couldn't give me, like, a cheat code or something?
And speaking of that ending, spoilers for people who have not played it, the ending is kind of anticlimactic, because, like, WizPig is still alive, so they were setting up for a sequel. Now, I have no idea about the development of a sequel, or if they even started it, but kind of a real bummer that the game ends on a cliffhanger, essentially.
30th anniversary is right around the corner. They're gonna do it. I can't remember. Did it use the Rumble Pack? Was that compatible with Diddy Kong Racing?
I did not have one growing up, and I do not have one now, so I cannot confirm that, but I would not be surprised if it did.
Yeah, I know, because when you crash into the wall, the whole screen sort of like shakes, and I could imagine that working really well with the Rumble Pack.
Yeah, so I did use the Rumble Pack, and I can say it did work with the Rumble Pack.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just feel like I want to go back and play it. So JChip, I mean, I said at the top, you're sort of a rare expert here. I'm not sure about you, Nathan, how many rare games you've played, but was there any sort
one or two?
Yeah. Were there any like Easter eggs? I know this came out before Banjo-Kazooie officially came out, and I don't think Kazooie was anywhere in this game, but between that and Conquer or any other rare titles, was there anything in this game that you guys saw that sort of carried through?
Well, I won't consider myself a rare expert, but I would consider myself a rare connoisseur. So as a person who has played a lot of rare games, I didn't really see many Easter eggs, at least none that I haven't noticed in this playthrough. I'm sure they're there, but I just haven't found them. I do know that this was, as you said, this was Banjo's first time in a game, and that was pretty cool. I just wonder like about the voice actor for Banjo, if they use the same guy or not.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I totally forgot about the voice acting, but I guess yeah. And even on the character select menu, like when you hover over a character, the theme song, the character select song changes, because I remember when you're on Banjo, it's actually playing like a Banjo version of that song.
Yeah. And Conker is in this game, and obviously he's nowhere near the raunchy little bastard that he becomes in Conker's Bad Fur Day. So
Right.
it's kind of a culture shock if you played the Conker's Bad Day first, and then you play Diddy Kong Racing, and he's like this cute little guy. It is kind of a culture shock there. It's kind of funny.
And Tip Top is in Conker as well, right?
Yes.
Tip Top's in Banjo.
Or in Banjo, okay.
Yeah.
But also, you were talking about Banjo. I think this is the only time we hear Banjo speak English. Like, when you pick Banjo with the Banjo character select screen, he says, "I'm Banjo." And in any of the Banjo games I've ever played, he never talks. He just does the rare, like, yup stuff.
It's all coming back. All right, well, we're talking about voices, so let's talk about some of the audio elements of the game. Obviously, David Weiss, the composer for this one. I'm a huge fan of the Donkey Kong Country soundtracks. I can certainly see some of the same elements and nuances in this one. What did you guys think of the music? Has it sort of stuck with you? Do you listen to it outside of the game?
I do love the music here. I don't often find myself listening to it outside. I don't often listen to video game soundtracks just recreationally, so to speak. But it's incredible. Dude, my favorite song by far is the Pirate Lagoon?
Yeah, because they changed all the music for the DS version, and there's some pretty iconic tracks that I'm missing out on. I think the pirate one was replaced by just some sort of like steel drum style generic music. But yeah, there are some pretty iconic themes that we missed out on.
My favorite tune is the lobby tune theme. I don't know what it is. I just think that song is so catchy before you start every level. That's the song that plays, and that's the one that usually gets me like, yep, that's Diddy Kong Racing.
Are you talking about the song that plays in like the rooms, like where TT's walking around and whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good song.
That's the song I like think of when I think Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, it's funny when at least on the N64 version, when you get that Rare logo and there's all those like children like laughing. That's actually like the development team's kids at Rare doing the voiceovers for that. So when I think about the music in this game, like the lobby music, I can sort of hear the voiceover guy, or TT, I guess it's the same voice, just sort of saying, "Yeah, let's go," or "All right, 3, 2, 1, go!" Like all the little voiceovers against all these soundtracks in the background. Did you guys ever see the CD for this soundtrack?
No.
Can't say I have.
The CD is shaped like Diddy Kong's head. It's like it's not a circle CD. It's like a weird shaped CD, and it doesn't actually work in most CD players. It sounds like it bricked a couple. It won't work. But I was so fascinated by that when I saw that last month. I was seeing if I can get my hands on it. I was like, surely this can't be real.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. I'm not paying that for it. Yep, no. I'll let you buy that, buddy.
What was everyone's favorite like course? Like what was a course in this game that you thought was like just the most fun to play?
So for me, it was Dino Domain, and it was the volcano, just because that's the one I remember the most growing up, and I know that's a plain level.
Yeah, no, not my favorite.
But for me, that was one of my favorites for sure. And there was one, I can't remember what it's called, but one of the courses at the end in the Future Funland. Really enjoyed that as well.
For me, it's Pirate Lagoon. I brought that up, and I remember that being one of the courses when I was like 9, where I finally beat TT. Because like on the N64 version, I don't know if TT is unlockable in the DS version or not, but once you beat the unlock time, and then you beat the ghost time, you get a little TT icon next to the track when you go to pick it. And I remember that being the first track that I really like doubled down, learned, and got the TT icon for it. And I, to this day, cannot be beaten on Pirate Lagoon. As soon as it comes to N64 online, JChip, I will challenge you. Because apparently you've unlocked TT, I have not. And I'm curious to race you.
As far as my favorite course, I'm a huge fan of Frosty Village. I just love Christmas themed levels. The server coin challenge is a pain in the ass, but like I just love the aesthetics of it, and the music is awesome. And I don't know, I just like Christmas themed stages.
Yeah, dude, that is one of my like top 3 least favorite silver coin challenge levels on both Adventure and Adventure 2.
Yeah, my least favorite silver coin challenge was Greenwood Village. I hated that level so much because there's this part in the race where you had to make a very sharp turn, and if you miss it, everyone passes you, and there's no way to like win that race. So like for this,
you're talking behind the tree?
No, it's like it's in the tunnel, and you had to make like this like sharp S curve, and you had to drift into one of the coins on the wall. And if you mess that up, they're just going to get right ahead of you because there's a boost right next to it. So...
Yes, okay, no. I know exactly what you're talking about. I hate Greenwood Village. And if I may complain about something, side note for a second, I'm really upset about the Nostalgia 64 mod using the Diddy Kong Racing level using Greenwood Village. They could have picked any level, but they picked Greenwood Village, and it has bummed me out so much. It is part of the reason I have stopped playing that mod on stream.
There is a way to make that level a little easier. The fountain in the main area is like there's like a hole there. So if you want to use that shortcut, it makes things a lot easier.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you got me thinking, Nathan, about the TT tracks. I totally forgot about it in the DS version, but the time trial challenges, you actually draw with the stylus the course design that you want to race TT on, and it's sort of like a rainbow road. You're like up in the clouds, and there's some elevation and stuff, but you could literally just draw like a tiny little circle if you think you're you're fast enough to keep up with him, or you could draw like a bunch of curves and whatever you're good at. So it is kind of a fun little element to really play to your strengths, and you got to do that 4 times, and then you'll ultimately unlock TT as a racer.
Dude, like, listening to you talk about the DS versions for the last hour or so has made me really sad, because I love this game so much, and it sounds like they had so many good ideas that putting it on the DS would just ruined it. Like, I would love to see all the changes they made get on like a ROM hack that I can play on an N64. Like, I'm really glad I didn't go with the DS version for this.
Now that being said, let me ask you this: do you think that there's anything that the DS version does better than the N64 version?
You know, not really. Man, I'm trying to think here. It does have a bigger roster because you could play as Taj, you could play as Whizbig, and then again it's got Dixie Kong and Tiny Kong in lieu of Banjo and Conker. I think if you really are good with the stylus, and I feel like because I'm left-handed, I have a really hard time using the stylus and controlling my cart. I got to do it with the other hand or hold it upside down. And I think, like a little change, like making the, ABXY, be able to navigate your cart for left-handed people, that would have been helpful. But for me, I just felt super nostalgic about, the N64 version. And you can see, the value there. You could see what they were trying to do, and if they had executed better, or even a remake on like a Switch version, would be it'd be so good. I would love to play that. Even getting it on NSO would be so much fun. All right, so let's. I guess that's a good question. So for people who haven't played Diddy Kong Racing, would you guys recommend going back to this game, knowing how many kart racers have come out and which ones are dominating the markets now? Is there value in going back to experience this one on the N64?
Yeah, I would say that this game is definitely worth checking out again, or maybe even for the first time ever. I think this is a really fun game. It does have a difficulty curve right at like the halfway point, because I feel like the first 2 courses are pretty easy, especially the first world at least. And once you get past the second world, I feel like the difficulty kind of ramps up. But I really do think that overall this is a really fun game, and that I do think it's something that everyone should at least check out. And if it ever hits NSO, then hopefully people check it out, because that'd be cool.
All right, I guess I'll try to make this coherent. But do I recommend Diddy Kong Racing? Absolutely. I think it's... I compare it a lot to Mario Kart 64 here, but I mean, you kind of have to, right? They're the top 2 N64 kart racers. But I think Diddy Kong is the more skill-based game, and that's going to make me sound like an ass, but I mean, it is. Mario Kart 64 has a lot of, like, catch-up mechanics, so it's more fun as a party game. Mario Kart 64, that is, where you're always able to get back in first place, really, no matter where you are. Like, Mario Kart 64, when you're playing with people, doesn't really matter until the final lap. Where Diddy Kong Racing, if you know the map, because the balloons are the same, like, the pattern is the same for the boards every time. So if you're playing, like, Hot Top Volcano, those red balloons are always going to be where they are, the blue balloons are always going to be where they are. With Mario Kart, yeah, the item boxes are going to be the same wherever they are, but who knows what you're going to get when you run into it. So it's a lot harder for, especially being on the N64, like being locked to the N64, a lot of new players who haven't played before are not fans of that console and that controller. So there's a little bit of a learning curve getting a new person into that. And if you're trying to show it to a new person, like for me, and this is where I sound like an asshole, I've been playing that game for so long, it's hard to get a new person to play and feel like they're making progress when you're just wiping the floor with them. Yeah, and like, it's all honestly, you guys brought up, you guys did an episode on GoldenEye. It's kind of the same with GoldenEye, where it's a unique control scheme that isn't really used today, where if you try to get new people into it, they're like, I'm just gonna go play Call of Duty, right? So like, someone who's grown up playing GoldenEye loves GoldenEye. You know where the map knowledge is, all that. Getting a new player, it's hard for N64 games. Do I think there's value? Absolutely. I think bringing it to the NSO would do wonders for it with like a modern controller. I guess to bring it back around, I'm getting in the weeds a little bit here, but I think Diddy Kong Racing is really good, but it's harder to get a new person in, where I think Mario Kart 64 is more of a gateway to Diddy Kong Racing. Like, I would introduce Mario Kart 64 to someone first, and then once they're having fun and kind of like get that game, then be like, hey, here's this, and then slide a copy of Diddy Kong Racing over.
Yeah, like, have you guys played any of the other, like, aside from Mario Kart, have you guys played any of the other N64 racing games, like Mickey Speedway or Wave Race, or, like, are there other comparable, fun, multiplayer racing games?
Funny you should bring up Beetle Adventure Racing.
Oh, yeah.
Little joke there. If you know, you know. But, the N64 has really good arcade racing games. I'm not good at any of them, but they're a lot of fun. You brought up Mickey's Speedway. That's actually also made by Rare. So I think it's the same team that made Diddy Kong Racing, if I'm not mistaken, JChip. Would you know?
I would not know. I have not played that game.
Okay. Really happy I threw it over to you, bud.
Yeah, so I guess in today's world, where you have heavy hitters like Mario Kart World, do you think that a new game similar to Diddy Kong Racing that's a little more strategy elements, a little more practice makes perfect, do you think that would work? Or, I mean, you guys seem pretty experienced with Nintendo Switch Online. Did they make any changes to Mario Kart? When they brought, is it even over?
It is.
Or would they be able to make any changes to Diddy Kong Racing that would sort of help modernize it in a way that makes it super relevant, super fun today, even with the older graphics and older mechanics?
Well, the save states would make the game a hell of a lot easier and rewinding, but that's besides the point.
Some dirty words you just said.
I'm just
there.
saying, you know. Anyways, so yeah, I do think a more modernized version of a Diddy Kong Racing would be pretty interesting to see. I'm not sure how they would do it, because I feel like with kart racers they more market towards multiplayer and just like the fun aspect rather than a skill-based kart racer. But I would like to see a new one for sure.
Well, if I remember correctly, they were working on one for GameCube that got canceled, right? Like Donkey Kong Racing or something like that? That was a bummer that got canceled.
Yeah, I remember the trailer for that. I don't know where that trailer came from, if that was like an E3 or a tech demo, but I definitely remember DK riding like Rambi, and there was like the ostrich, and Taj was riding something. They were riding through the jungle, so there was definitely like a planned one for the GameCube, and I think some elements of it, or a spiritual successor, ultimately became Star Fox Adventures, because I know this one clearly has a very prehistoric sort of caveman-like aesthetic to it, at least in some parts, and they sort of carried over that sort of dinosaur stuff over to Star Fox Adventures.
Also, cheap plug, I am in the Star Fox Adventure podcast. If you want to get that a listen, that'd be great.
Yeah, the more we talk, the more I realize, we've done GoldenEye, we've done Conquer, we've done Banjo, we've done Star Fox Adventure, now we're doing Diddy Kong Racing. So I think Battletoads, or another rare game, is going to be one.
Battletoads would be a very interesting Cartridge Club.
Get Megadan on that.
Oh, for sure.
Is Battletoads on NSO?
It is not.
No, but it is. It's on Rare Replay.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I would not play that version.
No.
Too much input lag, and with Battletoads, any input lag is going to mess you up.
Going back to car racers, has anybody played Blur?
No, I've seen it on around the internet, and I've been meaning to find it. Didn't that like shoot up like $50 or something like that?
No, I think it's hovering around like the $20 range.
Oh, really? Okay.
But Blur is essentially like a car racer, but it's more realistic cars instead of like, the cartoony cars. So that game has piqued my interest, and I do want to check it out at some point.
By more realistic, you mean like you can like tune up your cars? And
No. What I mean by is that like graphically, like they're more realistic cars. So like there's like a Hyundai and like stuff like that.
Okay. No, yeah, I haven't played that one. What's it on? What console?
PS3 and 360.
Okay. Nice. All right, so there you have it, folks. That was Diddy Kong Racing. It's going to do it for this episode of the Cartridge Club Game of the Month podcast. August's game was a Patreon vote, and the winner for that was Quake 1 by a landslide, too. Looking forward to playing that one. I've never played it myself. JChip or Nathan, have you guys played the first Quake game?
I've not.
I have not either. This will be my first time.
All right, already committed to playing it. Love it. Again, if you guys want to get involved with the club, I'd encourage you to follow us over on Twitter or Blue Sky at Cartridge Club. You can also visit our Discord for all kinds of discussion about the games of the month, past, present, or future. For those of you interested in supporting the club beyond a review on the podcast app of your choice, I want to mention that the club is entirely funded from pledges made from members of our community. We are extremely grateful to have those supporters. And if you're interested in becoming one of them, please look how you can do that at patreon.com/Cartridge Club. JChip, thank you so much for coming on the show. Why don't you plug a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
So my name is JChipShow. I review anime and I review video games on my channel. And I dabble here and there with manga every now and then. So that's pretty much the content you can expect. I'm also pretty active in the Discord, so if you want to chat, we can do it there. I also have a Twitter, and I have a Blue Sky.
Yeah, very active in the Discord. Thanks for that. And also, just fun fact, there are some Diddy Kong Racing manga out there as well. Not translated, but if you're looking to add something to your collection, JChip, there's some Diddy Kong stuff out there. How about you, Nathan? Where can people find you? You mentioned you stream.
Yes, so my name's Nathan. I'm one part of a two-man channel over at Nightcaps and Nostalgia on YouTube. Currently, we're just doing a lot of live streaming. It's me and my buddy Justin. The next thing we have coming up, I think I'm going to work for a DKC no-hit on the Super Nintendo. And, yeah, also we, I've no Death Ran it, so I got to do the no-hit. Mega Dan and Captain Algebra really embarrassed me on that one, so I can't let that one go. We actually just celebrated our 3-year anniversary yesterday, so we did a 12-hour stream over there that was a lot of fun to do. The archive's up if anyone wants to go check that out. Wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But, yeah, I will say this. I'm a lot less family friendly over there, so the curse words might get flying a little bit. So be ready for that.
Good to know. I'll definitely check it out. Well, it was great to have you guys on the podcast. Filled a huge gap with the whole N64 version of the game, which is clearly the superior one. So thank you for joining. Nathan, hope you come back on the podcast for a future game. JChip, great to have you back as always. And for you guys that are listening, we look forward to hearing from all of you soon. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, CC Unite.